G'day and welcome to Aussievision. We've just had the second semi-final of Eurovision 2024, and we've had a couple of surprises we're going to talk about. I'm joined by the lovely Emma and Fleur for our chat. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
All right, well, let's crack on with it. First up announced, shock of the qualifiers, Latvia. Not a lot of people had a chance for this. A little bit of an outside chance, but I think he was at bottom of the odds at one point. Emma, what did you think about this qualification and his performance?
Yeah, well, I actually thought his performance was fantastic. There's only a couple of male ballads in the competition this year, and he came out and nailed it. And it was great to see how emotive he was at the end of his performance. I actually sat there and thought, oh, he probably knows it's his last time that he's going to perform this, and wasn't I wrong? Yeah, he was actually last with the bookmakers just before the results were announced, and yeah, big shock, but really happy, well deserved, and I'm really glad he gets another chance to perform for us all again.
And Fleur, what do you think? Was it a surprise to you?
Yes, it was a very pleasant surprise. I was cheering so much when they announced it. I think everybody in the street must have heard me go, "Yes, Latvia." Look, I think his differing point was he was the male ballad. If you like your main ballads, you were going to vote for this. The other one, Belgium, but I think after Georgia, that was just lost. And I think Don's just stood out. Very good performance, on point. I was just focused watching it because he was that good.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I think even from the first semi, I think we have seen people really reward the vocals, and I think sometimes there's that calibration of now there's not a jury. People are a little bit like, yes, well, we want to see quality go through to the grand final as well. And I think that was his point of difference. It's obviously worked. I did kind of always think before going into Eurovision that he definitely had a chance, but I wasn't that impressed with the staging. I felt it a little odd. I don't know about that blue plastic thing with the thing and the ring and the I just thought they could have done a bit more with the staging, but obviously they've done enough. So very happy to be proved wrong on that one. So well done,
polished,
Latvia.
Very polished performer.
Yes.
He's been around a long time. No surprise there. He's definitely got what it takes to do quite well.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll see how he goes on Sunday. The other one that was on the cusp, I think it was 10th in the betting odds, and to me, this was always a wild card about how people were going to take this because it's a bit of a hark back to a bit of 2000s simple quirk, I thought, with Estonia. They qualified as well. Fleur, what do you think?
It was a fun entry. I enjoyed watching it. I think vocally it was not as good as East Lil, but performance-wise, much better. It was more cohesive. I love the choreo. It was just fun. I think wasn't everyone smiling along watching that?
Well, Emma, what did you think about it?
Yeah, look, an enjoyable entry. As you mentioned, did hark back to sort of a lot of the crazy, quirky entries of the 2000s that we got used to seeing. It was very enjoyable and entertaining, and they've got a huge following around Scandinavia. So, I think particularly with a lot of the younger voters, so that might have been what did it for them. So not totally surprised to see them get through, but after who else they were up against, yeah, I mean, they really pulled away and got the spot.
Yeah, I've always kind of felt it was a bit 50-50 and how it was going to be taken because it's so kind of simple but fun. Like it was fun. I enjoyed watching it. So yeah, I'm pleased for them to get through actually. And with Estonia making it and Latvia today, all the Baltic nations have qualified.
Yeah.
And I think that is a while since we've had that because
God,
Latvia had a very long NQ streak. So I'm really pleased for them. I think it is particularly for Latvia to get through. They really needed that. And I didn't think they were going to get it. So well done, Latvia and Estonia. All right, we'll run through most of the others in order. Next, the second up announced was Austria. Kayleen, I was really pleased that she got through. I thought she did a good job, and she even had a little vocal moment. What do you think, Emma?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Songs like this, it often struggle in a live version. It's very hard to recreate the sort of club theme that the studio version and the video have going on. But I think she did a wonderful job of it. Had a bit of help with the vocals at times from her backing singers, but yeah, I thought they did as much as they could with this song, and it was so entertaining, and I'm really glad that she got through.
Flo?
Yeah, I agree with Emma. she deserved to go through. Looking at her, what she's done with the Eurovision previously, it's like, oh, please, this girl deserves it. Again, I don't think her vocals were as good as some of the others, but we all knew that going in. She did a competent job. We knew the dancing was going to be on point. The staging was great. Yeah, I'm quite happy to see this go through. I thought her biggest competition might have been Malta, and I was a bit worried for her in the running order because it was after all these girl bops. So, yeah, she's done it, but
Yeah,
it's
I think
great
it's
to see that on Sunday.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's going to add to the grand final. It's fun, especially for Saturday night crowds in Europe, and to wake us up in Australia, depending on what time she comes on. We'll see with that one. But I think competent to do talk about the vocals. Fleur was a very good word to use for that one. Now, next up was Netherlands, but Netherlands, Switzerland, and Israel were really obvious qualifiers. So we're not going to talk too much about them because this is about the qualifiers getting in, but we might touch on them at the end. Norway kind of was always, I think, going to get through, but you just never know with these things. But were you happy to see them through in Fleur?
Oh yeah, I love this song when I first heard it from the NGP days. What I thought was lacking, the staging was good, but I would have liked to seen a shot of a wolf, like how they did at MGP, because that's what the song is about. It didn't have that visual, but the camera work was excellent. I just loved it. And yeah, so glad this is going through. I think this can do quite well.
It's got a point of difference for sure.
It definitely does.
Emma?
Yeah, I agree. This deserved to go through, even if it's not your cup of tea. I think there's enough there with the visual package and the way she emotes through her body movements and vocals and things like that. Yeah, I think they were well deserved for them to go through, and great package.
Yeah, definitely. I do think it's I do prefer to MGP, the smaller stage for it. The bigger one, it just loses a tiny bit of the magic, but it's still amazing and it has a real unique selling point compared to a lot of the other songs. Next to be announced in the kind of thing running through the list, other than those three, was Greece. A very kind of different staging approach with that kind of TikTok-y thing and being quite close on stage with the camera following around. Got her through. Emma, what do you think of the performance and her qualifying?
Yeah, I think she did a great job. I would have been very disappointed if she hadn't have qualified, actually. It was always going to be a very difficult song to live up, or performance to live up to the hype of the video. I think they did a great job with it. And obviously we heard that she wasn't too well before the performance, but you wouldn't have known that from watching her. I think it was very cleverly choreographed, and yeah, I'm super pleased that she's gone through. She really brings something to the competition.
Have yourself, Fleur.
Yeah, I think this would be a hit with the younger viewers, and I have to admit I wasn't a fan of the song when I first heard it. Didn't really like what we saw in the video, maybe because it was too jarry, but I felt a lot more comfortable watching it on TV. I think it might have been better for the stage. That's what I think. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is really interesting because
it wasn't something I'd listened to a lot previously going to competition. I watched that. I thought, yeah, she's a good performer. I liked watching her.
Yeah, and I think she dragged this through. Like, because Marina, she just did the most. She's just incredible down the camera. She just really connects. She's an absolute pro. She's so likable, and I think even with that interesting goonbag skirt thing going on, but I do.
I'm sure I was allowed to say that.
I watched the jury show of the semi-final. I thought it was really messy and clunky, and I think because she was unwell, she was almost like going from choreo to singing and actually even missing half of the first note a couple of times. And I'm not big on the staging concept at all, but it's really interesting to hear from someone who didn't like the video, who does really enjoy it, because I love the song and I love the video. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm not really feeling the staging, but I'm so pleased for it to get through because I love this song and I love her. So well done, Greece.
Yes.
Next up, Georgia. Well, she was saying put out the fire, but they basically burnt the house down with all those flames. What do you think of this one, Fleur? Were you surprised for it to get through, or you expected it?
I expected this to go through. She is professional. Coming straight from American Idol, which she did really well. Yeah, not shocked at all, because I think people knew a bit about her before her performance tonight. So, yeah.
And you, Emma?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Based on the studio version, I had this song on the cusp, but once we started to see the live performance and she started rocketing up the odds, and I can see why. That was a fantastic performance, and she's just got an amazing vocal on her, and put that all together with the all the fire and the dancers, and I think no issue with that going through. It's a great performance.
Yeah, I love it. Look, it's basic girl bop, but she does it the
Yeah.
best. Out of all the
Yep.
girl bops, I think she presents it the best. George has thrown
Mm.
everything at this and more. I think half the GDP budget went on this from this performance, all those pyros.
Yeah.
But also the choreography is fantastic. She just owns the whole performance and she looks great. So, well done. I'm glad to see them through. And then the last one to be announced, which I thought was so obvious, it was no suspense. It was gonna be Armenia.
Oh, yeah.
They just had
Yeah.
They just had the pizzazz. So what do you think, Emma, of Armenia?
I love Armenia. Parts of it are a little bit dated in a way, just in the stage presentation, of the sort of the folky big groups that we used to see in the 2000s a lot of the time. But the song itself, very current sounding. She really connected through the camera. I think the whole group did actually, and you could just see that the people in the arena were enjoying it. I would have been really disappointed if this hadn't have got through. So I was very excited when she was announced last. So well deserved.
Yeah, the way I think it's Jacqueline Emo, that camera was just she knew how to work that camera. The whole performance was enjoyable. It was fun. It was colourful. It was probably the most memorable one in that way because it had so many colours, and they just used just a small amount that stage, but it worked so well.
Yeah, they give a great energy and the colors go totally great. It's really, really good. And it's a very odd in a good way. Like it does kind of hark back to that 2000s thing. I think a lot of people love that. And they kind of dress like they're from a 70s cult and they're trying to recruit us in. That's what I was saying on the Aussievision Twitter account, because that's what it feels like. But I'm sign me up. I'll join that cult. That looks like a lot of fun. I do think there's just points. It just gets a little bit messy and frenetic. Even sometimes when they do the quick shots to the instrumental, they're like, they don't blink, and it's quite frightening. And I think if they just this could have, I think could have potentially been on for a Moldova type televote situation. I think it'll still do very well in the televote, but I do think it has limitations a little bit. But I love it, and I'm so happy to see it get through. All right, those are our 10 qualifiers. Just quickly, out of the 3 obvious ones, Switzerland's the one that is in the odds as second favourite behind Croatia. From the performance you saw tonight of Nemo, do you think they can have a chance of winning, Emma?
I think so. Croatia is probably still the tidier, cleaner package, I suppose you'd say. But I think Nemo can definitely still do it. I really loved the innovative use of their big turntable, and vocals were great. I think it's going to be 2-horse race between Croatia and Switzerland, I think.
Fleur?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I was expecting a bit more in the background because we just had Nemo and we had that spinning top, but gee, Nemo can perform the heck. I mean, who can do that? Stand on a spinning top, that's amazing. But is it enough to win? I don't know. I don't know if I can go by that. Performance-wise, absolutely, but the visuals for me aren't there completely.
Yes, it's an interesting one. I think the moments are fantastic. The balancing thing just blows my mind. I mean, I can't even skate. So I look at that and just go, what? But I do think, and I think the juries will definitely enjoy it. I just wonder about the public if there's enough for it. And it just reminds me, in a very different genre, of course, but it reminds me a little bit of Jean's Tears in a way that it's quite artistic and different, and the juries will like it. And the public will like it, but they won't maybe really go for it. So... But it's all the machinations of points. But who knows, right? You just never... I would not put Latvia through today, so who knows what's going to happen. Now, out of the non-qualifiers, it was Malta, Albania, Czechia, Denmark, San Marino, and Belgium. Anyone you want to shout out there? Any shocks or anyone you're disappointed with, Flo?
I'm sad San Marino didn't make it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was one of the best stagings I think I've seen them do. I have to admit, Kenzie's voice wasn't there at the start. Got better as the song went, and I was a little surprised. I thought this might have just snuck in.
Emma, anyone jump out for you out of the NQs?
Well, apart from San Marino, I would say I'm sad about Denmark, but I'll talk about Czechia because I thought that that was fantastic performance. I think the way that they used every element of the staging that they could, the use of the cubes and the silhouettes of the couple arguing. I thought that was a fantastic way to do that part of the song. I loved it. And yeah, I think in a weaker semi-final, she would have got through. Yeah, I'll be interested to see the full results when they come out, because I don't think she could have done any more with that.
Yeah, and I think for both those countries, number one, I mean, maybe they were, competing for each other, and they're similar genres without being the same. Good presentations. I think both of them have done it better. In like San Marino was definitely messier today than it has been. Czechia was like, I think 95% of what they've done previously, and it was really good. And I think both of those countries struggle with public vote. And I think they have that same thing. So they almost have to do more a little bit there, which is a shame because I had a big bet on Czechia to get through. So I was disappointed with that. And I think the same for Malta, because I think Sara Bonici did everything you could. It was a great performance, but Malta really struggled in the public vote, and you can't be amazing. You've got to be out of this world amazing, I think, for these three countries we spoke about to qualify these days in the 100% public vote. But also with Malta, the song just wasn't that great as well. So that's the other part of it as well. No surprise in Albania. Belgium was probably the one. I'm not surprised to see it in queue after the performance, but coming into the whole contest, it was like, I think at one stage it was top 5 in the odds to win, and it's end up being an NQ. And unfortunately, I think it's just all fallen apart live again for Belgium, which has happened a few times for them.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, it was a bit sad. I think he did a very good job with what he had, but just ultimately that just wasn't enough.
Yep, that's it. That's how it all falls. All right, well, that was semi-final 2. I'm trying to remember now, so many days. Semi-final 2. We have our grand finalists, and we'll have the grand final on Sunday morning. So, Emma, Fleur, thanks again for joining us early in the morning, and bring on Eurovision weekend.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Catch you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.